Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast. We're going to be talking about Palworld, Ragnarock, Against the Storm, Lorcana. But first, my name is Christian.
My name's Nick.
I'm Bobby.
I'm Emilio.
And I'm in San Diego.
That's JP Diddy, John Day, longtime friend and supporter of the podcast, cook extraordinaire, and
eating extraordinaire. I feel
yeah, fuck, we've been on a tear, man. Just delicious meal after delicious meal. No shitty meals at all. Just fucking gluttonous spree.
Nice, dude.
That's good. I'm glad that you get some reprieve from the 12-hour shifts in the cold in San Diego, driving through the flooded streets.
You guys lock arms across each other and spoonful each other spaghetti. Is it romantic? Is what I'm asking.
Yeah, like where you twist your arms inside each other.
Yeah.
We definitely did that once.
Okay, that's cool.
The first night we went out to extremely expensive sushi and then karaoke till 2 a.m, and then I threw up all the expensive sushi. So that's where I'm at with that.
Hey, dude, some bird is gonna be eaten real well. It's like, oh, this is better than the shit I get from the ocean.
This is partially digested in season.
All right, cool. Okay, moving on, I guess, for On the Radar, games that have caught our attention. This is a video game podcast. Bobby, you're playing some sort of game about yourself? What's happening?
No, I'm not playing this game yet. This game is called Network Engineer Simulator, and this is a game that is actually being made by a friend of ours that Emilio told me about. It is not out yet, and it is exactly what it sounds like, Network Engineer Simulator. So you clean up small networking closets and all the way up to, you work your way up to large data centers. I don't know if this sounds too exciting to most people, but it is made by people who actually do this for a living. So it actually does teach you like basic networking, switches, routers, firewall servers, all that stuff. So we may be able to get our hands on a copy pretty soon to test that out. And I'm looking forward to playing this. I know the simulation jobs are games are kind of hit and miss for people, but I don't know. This one could be fun.
Zuby is the guy. He joined our Discord. I haven't spoken to him yet, but he's the one behind this. So we'll be talking to him and seeing where it goes from there. But it'll be cool to talk to him about. I think I'm going to have him on the podcast. We'll talk about what it's like getting a game on Steam and so on and so forth. So we'll go down this adventure with him, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Awesome.
pretty cool. And Bobby, is this what you've done as a professional in the past? Do you have...
No, so I'm on the other side of this. And it's funny because when I'm reading the description here on the Steam page, where does it say it? Under about this game, the last sentence is, remember, it's always the network's fault. And that's kind of a funny thing in IT because people like to blame things on the network. And then, of course, the network team likes to blame things on the sys analysts, which is where I work. So the networking I don't do. I work with the systems that run on our servers and utilize the network, but no, I don't do a lot of this stuff.
Can you say for the final, like whose fault is it usually, Bobby?
Yeah.
I guess it depends on where you work.
Take a side.
Yeah. No, I mean, you know what side I'm on, man. I blame it all on the network, but you know.
All right, Emilio. You've been having some friendship this week?
No, but I from On the Radar on our Discord, somebody put on We Are Here Expeditions, the friendship. So this is part of a larger thing I had no idea about, but it seems to be Total Mayhem Games seems to they make a bunch of games called We Were Here, and there's a lot of them, and they're pretty well received. There's 91%, there's 80%, there's 85%, and it's like co-op puzzle adventure, focus more on the puzzle, like small. It seems like party game stuff. Like you have to work through things together, you and a friend. I believe it's co-op only. And it seems very fun. But so this is like a little bite-sized one. It's only $4, and so you can play through it. You play through some sort of funhouse maze thing, but then I was clicking on their other games, and so like We Were Here Forever. That's an $18 game. That's the one that's at 91%, 10,000 reviews, like breakout hit, and you're at all interested, it seems like you pick up the bite-sized one. If you like it, then you go and buy the forever one. But then there's also We Were Here Together, We Were Here Too, We Were Here. Oh, We Were Here is free. Let's see what the reviews are like on this. So even better. Even before you go bite-sized, you can go free. So very, very, very accessible. And I wish I saw this before, because this would have been great for me and John to play before the podcast, but maybe next time.
Really putting the friend in friendship.
It looks pretty.
We're friends and we'd like to play games, okay?
What's that, Nick? Sorry.
Oh no! I was gonna say it looks pretty interesting. It's cool that they give those little bite-sized like versions of the game so you can try it out.
It reminds me most of what's that co-op game with the couple?
That famously terrible game. It Takes Two.
It Takes Two. Crazy, Christian. You're the only person in the world, dude.
Well, there's a lot of games like this. Love in a Dangerous Space-Time, even Portal 2. I think it's a good idea to separate it into smaller games, because once you solve a puzzle, especially a co-op puzzle, you're not going to replay that. It has no replay value. So you kind of use it up and move on.
Yeah, like Portal 2. I mean, you might go back and play it with a different buddy, but
if enough time has passed and you forgot it, maybe. But something like this seems good, where it's just like, we'll just make a whole, we'll do quantity here, and then you can just pay for bits and bits. It's interesting that the prices vary so much. I mean, they go from free to $4, $10, $13, $18. Like, they really cover a broad spectrum there. So I'm wondering if you're getting more content in different ones.
Did you guys see that Portal 2 actually had a advertised thing on Steam for one of their mods, like on the front page of the store, like 2 weeks ago?
I didn't see that.
It's called Portal Revolution, and people worked on dynamic lighting and DLSS and ray tracing for the game, and then also apparently there's 40 new chambers in the game as well.
Wow, that could be worth diving into, dude. That's a great flag.
I believe it's for Portal 1 or Portal. It looks like Portal 2 because some of the aspects of it, because it doesn't say what it's for, but it's overwhelming positive. Oh, it's Portal 2. It's okay. There it is. It's Portal 2. It was delayed, but now it's out, and it's free, so you can just install it, get 40 new levels, and it's all upgraded graphics.
I wonder if it's co-op levels. Nick, do you know?
I believe from what it says here, single player. It doesn't say anything about co-op. It just says single player. Yeah.
Portal 2 is the first game I beat on acid with a whole group of people. The whole couch played, We just passed the controller back and forth. So I would definitely want to revisit that. I don't think I've played it since then.
That's the first game me and Lizzie play together, actually. No, that's it. No.
Aw, that's cute.
We got really mad at each other. We're like, God damn it! He's supposed to jump now!
A lifetime of friendship was born. Okay, Bulwark, Falconeer Chronicles, made by one guy, Thomas Sala, and produced by Wired Productions. This is a game I played on a Steam Next Fest a while back that now has a release date of March 26th. It is an open world island hopping Zeppelin city builder, which sounds complicated, and it kind of is. But the emphasis is placed on aesthetics and logistics. So you're really trying to make your places that you're building look good. Building is very easy. Right click, left click, and then it kind of auto AI generates a kind of fortress. It uses resources, but it happens instantly. And you kind of can control the altitude of everything. And depending on the altitude, different resources are located at different spots. So it's kind of a little mini game there. You control a hero ship for combat and exploration, and you recruit more by going to further and further islands. So it's a little bit of like Anno there. this is kind of like a casual game, but that isn't exactly the right word for it. I kind of wanted to ask you guys if you had a better word. The logistics are intense. It still tickles your brain, but like it's pretty chill. You know, like you can lay back in your seat. You're not like looking at a bunch of numbers. It's more loosey goosey. Is there a word? Is there a better word?
Loosey goosey sounds good.
Yeah, loosey goosey's pretty good.
Okay. It's like Anno, but loosey goosey in a good way. So yeah, if you like city builders and you like loosey goosiness, check out Bulwark, Falconeer, Chronicles.
Did you play the demo?
Yeah, I played it on Steam Next Fest.
So what controls what is built where? Is it the topography?
It is the topography, and you can't build on oceans until you research like a far tech that I didn't even get to in the demo. So you are meant to island hop around, and as you island hop out, there's more difficult and more difficult challenges. People will try to attack you, or they'll want you to trade with them. Yeah, and I was reading the Steam page. This wasn't in the demo, but he says a complete open world that is procedurally generated as you explore it. So that to me, maybe I hope, you know, obviously no game is the same, but I hope by procedurally generated, it means like you're not going to run into like 100 iron islands. Like, you know, it's going to be somewhat curtailed so that your expansion makes sense and feels good instead of like, I don't know, some of these games you can just find the exact same thing in the exact same direction and it isn't really that fun to play.
It looks very cool, man. I like it a lot. It reminds me of when I was a kid. I used to like draw a random crooked line, 2 of them, and then that would be like a mountainside, and then I would build like whatever due to the topography of my random line, like cannons and like, and then one mountain would beat the other mountain.
There's got to be a German word. Yeah, there's got to be a German word for what you're describing. That's exactly kind of, it's more sandboxy. Maybe that's better. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. Johnny, you bought a peripheral for your Steam Deck? Not peripheral, but something for your Steam
accessory.
Deck?
Yeah. So coming out here, it's always been a little bit of a struggle to have the Steam Deck and be on a long flight and those types of things. So I've been looking at battery packs for a while, and I'd have to actually look up the brand name of this, but at any rate, they made I'll say an attachment that snaps to the back of a Steam Deck, and then the battery pack is magnetized. So it effectively just magnets right on the back of your Steam Deck and gives you 20,000 milliamp hours of additional charge for your Steam Deck. So pretty slick in terms of attach and detachability. So 2 to 4 hour flight, you got a lot more uptime, I would say.
Cool. What is 20,000 milliamp hours for us peasants who don't understand that? Like, what does that give us?
I'd have to actually look at the conversion, but I think it gets you at least a full second charge.
Oh, cool.
No, so it doubles. Yeah, it doubles your life at least.
Was it like another pound and a half?
Yeah, it's like a brick, a little mini brick on the back.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool idea. It's funny because he has a case around his Steam Deck, but so it wouldn't attach. So he just cut a hole in his case, and it worked out good. Yeah.
Sweet.
Modern problems, modern solutions. Pull out the scissors.
Speaking of modern solutions, Dragon's Dogma 2 is coming out, and it has a lot of interesting changes from the first game. They're doing something. I don't know if it's going to be commonplace nowadays, but it's kind of similar to Elden Ring, where you can summon other players, but you keep them as party members. What it is that when you go on an adventure and shit, there will be characters in a big ass room. It looks very ethereal, like they kind of look like ghosts and stuff. And it gives you the player's level and then kind of their build and like what class they are and stuff. And you can choose them. And what they are is they are characters that people are currently playing that are on the same level as you, and you choose them to be in your party. And if they die, they die. So if like you can't get them back. So it's pretty interesting. I believe you can have up to 4 followers It releases March 22nd. The graphic style is very close to Elden Ring, as far as like the environment. But Dragon's Dogma always been different from a lot of other RPGs, like on how large scale their spells are. That's always been like the cool thing about Dragon's Dogma has been like the spell casting and stuff. And then also the stuff you fight is also really really interesting. They're always like big and over the top creatures, but like they're like from mythology, like a griffin or a hippogriff and things like that. Um, yeah, they say that they're having like random encounters in the game now, which is another thing. Like usually like when you play Baldur's Gate, almost everything is actually scripted as far as like where things are. There's nothing really truly random in the game, besides the rolls, which are supposed to change how games go for people unless you save scum. But for in Dragon's Dogma 2, there's supposed to be random interactions and random things that apparently like you can just be traveling with your party, and then all of a sudden a a basilisk will show up and then attack your party, and then it goes, the town next to you was just raided by that basilisk, so you have to go back to it and help out the town and see what's going out. And they're not just side quests; they're just literally random world encounters. So it's pretty interesting. There's a lot of regular RPG mechanics that we're used to from D&D and Elden Ring and other kind of RPGs for like medieval / magical fantasy worlds. You choose the class, you choose your stats, you choose your spells, you choose your attacks. But it looks pretty interesting. I always wanted to play Dragon's Dogma 1. I actually played it on the Switch. And it was like looking at a potato, and I'm like, yeah, I can't do this. The graphic settings were so bad.
I tried it too, and it was already too late. Like by then, I had already played Skyrim, and like
The magic was over.
A modded up Skyrim, so it was very hard to go back to. I don't know. Maybe they came out around the same time, but I don't think Dragon's Dogma had the mod support. Or at least I didn't explore it, so it was just too old and clunky by the time I played it. But man, this looks good, and I think I like pimping yourself out to the masses is pretty cool. Like the stronger or more interesting, if you fill a lot of slots, maybe more people will use your character. I imagine you get some sort of currency or something when your character is being used by other people. I gotta imagine you get something XP or something.
Yeah, I want to know. So like it just has a quick blurb about it, and in the video that I watched about the game describing some of the new mechanics, they don't elaborate on it too much. But from what some people are saying on Reddit and in comments, you can choose whether or not if you want your person to be out there. So I don't think it's something that benefits you like too much. I'm guessing if it did, then everybody would do it. But I'm guessing just people just want to put their silly builds or like their insanely powerful builds on there so they can help people out. So.
I think I just saw 17 plus too. I wonder if it's mature rating, I guess.
No, it's mature. Violence, blood and gore, sexual themes, and language.
It looks fucking great, man.
It looks really it looks very pretty.
Yep.
So the original Dragon's Dogma, I never played these games, but the original one came out back in 2012, right around the same time as Skyrim. But it looks like there's been a remake of it, 4K remaster, 60 frames a second, and it's like it's less than $5 on Steam right now. But I'm looking at.
So that's an official from Capcom remake, I guess.
Yeah, that's what it says. However, I'm looking at the Steam page, and one of our listeners recommends it, and another one of our listeners does not. Apparently, some contrasting opinions there. But
I don't want to stay too long. Like for me, I don't know what is the difference between Dragon's Dogma and Sky. Like, is it more Souls-like than Skyrim RPG? Is it more RPG than Sky? Like, where's it kind of fit?
So Dragon's Dogma, from what I've played personally, and from like, and obviously I've played Skyrim. I've actually put I think 200 something hours in it. Dragon's Dogma is more akin to an Elden Ring or a Souls-like because you can dodge, and it's not first person. It's very much third person. And so with that, like it's kind of like, I don't want to say a JRPG because there's no like time stopping or time slowing down. There's no like switching between party members to do attacks and like cooldowns for certain attacks and things like that. It's very much like, roll, duck, all that kind of stuff that you see in Elden Ring. In Skyrim, it's a little bit more static. You just press R2 to do heavy attack, or like hold it down to do heavy attack and things like that. So it's more akin to an Elden Ring.
Cool. You're right. I'm watching the video now, and the spells do look very intense. They like light up the whole sky, and
yeah.
This is going to be a heavy hitter this year. I feel like if they don't drop the ball on this is going to be,
another March release too. This is our third game releasing in March on the radar.
Dude, there's a lot of things that are releasing first quarter that seem pretty spicy. Like the Fallout show's releasing first quarter as well. So
the Fallout show, I don't know about that. I can't be. I'll have to look. I'm not hyped till I watch the first episode and I see not a piece.
That's
of
how
shit.
I am too. And then until I read where like what's his name, the guy that everybody makes fun of. He always wears a leather jacket to conferences. The Bethesda developer. He's got the funny hair. It's kind of poofy. He's at every fucking conference. He always talks about either like Skyrim or whatever. Oh my god, I can't remember his name. Anyways, he was part of the actual development team. He's like one of the main people at Bethesda. So I think he's the lead director. Anyways, compared that to like the Halo show where they're like, we wanted to show John's face on immediately because we wanted to be different from the video game, and people were like, "Fuck you!" People trashed it, and I don't know how that show landed a second season, dude. It is awful.
Dude, I love Forward Unto Dawn though. That short series that they did.
It's one of the best. It's one of the best. It's so good. That's what happens when people who know the source material and want to stay kin to it and do a very hard job being accurate and also write good stories. That's what you get. You get good things, and you get things that people like.
You get Star Wars Andor, folks, which I'm rewatching now, so it's top of my mind.
One of the best shows, even if it's not Star Wars, is Star Wars Andor, dude. The amount of twists and turns in that show, it's so good, man. Like, if you just make, like, people say Star Wars is for kids or like teenagers and stuff. If you make more serious shit like Andor or Rogue One, you're gonna have a larger like interaction rate with older audiences, like hands down. Like Andor was so good.
We could do a whole episode on Andor, and maybe we should for the patrons. Let us know in Discord if you want. But until then, highlights, games that we absolutely, positively have been playing. Nick, you played something?
Ragnarock. Usually Ragnarock is just no CK, it's just C. But it's Ragnarock because it's a VR game and you play a Viking drummer on a Viking longship.
Oh my god, dude, this is so fucking good.
Yeah, it is. So I bought it for Leslie because Leslie was like, I want to play the VR and I don't want to play Beat Saber. What other games is there? I'm like, do you want to play like a rhythm game? And she's like, yeah. And I heard of Ragnarok a long time ago and I was like, all right, cool. It's only $25, so let's get it. And she played it and she played it for 4 hours straight the first night.
This looks so fucking good, dude.
She was hella sweaty and shit, and she's like, "This is one of the best games ever."
I am the Viking longship. Boom, 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 boom. Is it like intense music or is it like poppy bullshit?
It's all Viking metal, dwarf metal, like Scottish metal. Like it's all like very akin. And so like the environments change, and so the main difference between this and, for example, Beat Saber, which is arguably the most popular rhythm game or
VR game,
is the fact that you just have drums and they're in front of you, and the game has you hit the drums not only at a certain point but in a certain position as well. So like you have to hit it directly in the middle. If you don't hit your drum in the middle,
cool,
you won't get power-ups and shit. Like you just it'll be like okay, and like the faster you go, this game gets insane. The difficulty meter goes to 12, and the highest I've ever played is 6. There's some modern EDM hits. There's also like DLC for it from like Sabaton and some other metal bands and stuff. It's mostly metal. I'm gonna be honest. It's mostly metal.
Is there any dubstep, Nick?
There is dubstep, but I have something even better for that. There's a little bit of dubstep. There's some electric callboy in there as well. But the thing is, there is a website that is open. It's very easy to work with and download and use. and it's called Ragna. Oh my god, Ragna
Talk?
Customs. There we go. And so what it is you go to Ragna Customs, you click their little downloader, and you plug in your headset into your computer, and you literally can search amongst their 2,700 songs that they have and download any of those songs. Once you downloaded all the songs you wanted, you just click sync, and then you're good to go.
Cool.
Yeah, it tells you if your headset's compatible, if the operating system on the headset's compatible. You just click check compatibility or check device, and then boom, it says you're compatible, and then you just click sync songs. Usually takes about a minute, if that. I downloaded, I think, 25 custom songs, all kinds of genres, from the the music from Tarzan from Disney to like death metal to Rammstein to rap. Like, it's all kinds of shit.
That's so cool.
I
And
will
so,
say, go ahead.
story-wise, are you headed anywhere on this long ship? Like, are you headed to battle? Are you headed to save
No.
someone?
There's not that much story to it. What it is you unlock different the higher difficulty you go, you unlock like more and more crazy like environments and levels. And so at first you're like going down a river, like this is nice. And then like six difficulties later, you're dodging the sword of like Surtur as it flies above your head. And then like the level after that, you're floating above Earth in Valhalla. Like, it gets really interesting. There's also customization, so you can change the way your drums look. You can change the way your hammers look, all kinds of stuff. But like the difficulty in this game is intense. Like a 4 to a 5 isn't bad, but like a 4 to a 6 is like an immense jump. And you have to have some nimble fucking hands sometimes. That's all I have to say. It's a great game. If you're looking for a game that's more metal or a little bit more, I feel like you get sweatier in this game than you do in Beat Saber, because I've played a lot of Beat Saber. I would definitely say try out Ragnarok.
I feel like I want a video of you playing this, dude. Like,
You're
I'll
just gonna see
I
me
do.
flailing around, just like
yeah. Sorry,
shirt
John.
off.
What?
It'll be shirt
Yeah,
off.
shirt
I was
off.
just gonna
Yeah.
say, Nick, yeah, I dug into this when it first came out a while ago, and it's evidently come a long way. I haven't circled back to it probably in over a year or so, but it looks
used to
like
be in
they've
early
just
access.
expanded and put a more, customization capability. The custom songs wasn't there when I played, but it was really fun. Yeah, to your point, yeah, if you like Beat Saber at all, like this is definitely a nice little slight pivot away from that, and you feel like kind of a badass banging the drums and then hitting the cymbals on the sides, like when you get
Yeah.
Oh,
the guitar
cymbals,
going,
game
that's
changer.
super satisfying.
So yeah, so the symbols, to not to spoil too much, but the symbols, so every time you hit a note perfectly, your hammers or your drum things, whatever you choose them to be, because they can be like chicken legs and shit, they start to glow. And once they glow, you can hit the gongs next to you. And when you do that, all your guys get super juiced and they just start rowing hella fast. And the way the multiplayer works is you race against people's ghosts or
Yep.
like other players that play on there, and so their long ship is next to yours, and you can like turn around and look at them and like see how far back they are and ahead of who they are, because Leslie's way better at this game than I am. And
Hey,
so
Nick,
yeah,
why would you say that this is more like calorie intensive than Beat Saber? You think?
because it goes by BPM instead of like things that are so in Beat Saber, it does go by BPM in the sense that when the developers make the songs, they are usually going by the drums itself. But for Ragnarok, the songs that are not very drum heavy, they're guitar heavy. So you're trying to hit these guitar solos that are super fast, and it's very, very, you have to be accurate, so you're a lot stiffer with your movements as well. So it's I don't know how to explain it. Like, you're very much more like, I feel like with
probably-
Beat Saber, you're a lot more flowy, so you can conserve your energy
Yes.
as you're moving around. But with Ragnarok, you're like, "Ugh," just going up and down
Yeah.
hella fast. Like, you have to keep your arms taut to make sure you don't go too far, so you don't hit the thing next to you. So Yeah.
Yeah, I think like if you go and you stop a movement, it's more energy than if you do follow through.
yeah,
Yeah, so it makes sense. More flowy. You're right.
yeah,
Nick-
it's so fun.
Next time you play this game, get on the couch, put all the cushions around, make your longboat, Rearrange it so you're facing the television. Go back, and I want you to take a video. Someone take a video. It sounds so fun. Oh man, cool.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It's only $25. Check it out.
Bobby, anything on Ragnarock? Dude, great name, by the way. Great name of the game. Great idea for the game. Holy fuck.
Ragnarock.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks fun. I mean, I didn't play much Beat Saber. Although in Beat Saber, you had to stand up and you occasionally had to duck down below things, right? And this looks like you're just sitting down the whole time.
You're just sitting down. I mean, me and Leslie were playing standing up, but yeah, I think you're supposed to sit down. When I think about it, I'm like, I'm hella tall above these drums. Like, what's up with these settings? You gotta sit down.
I'm in Valhalla. Emilio, what were you up to?
John and I picked up Palworld because I was telling him how it has exploded since the last time he's been at his computer. And we picked it up and we played it for about 2.5 hours. It has a lot going on for sure, but most of it, a lot of times I get bogged down with technology trees and all that kind of stuff, especially when you're playing like Terraria and stuff. But none of that happened. I found it all very intuitive, actually. I think you could play this game at different levels. I think you could just passively barely grow your stuff and get new pals all the time and just casually play it, or you could be looking at all the abilities that all these pals have and really try to get as efficient as possible, which is where the Factorio part of it goes in. It's just really cool when you get one that is like a hard worker and then also like does farming, and then you're like, oh great, I don't have to tend to my berry patch anymore. This is fantastic, because it's so labor intensive, and that all just happens while it's just sitting there. So that's very cool. We just found so John and I were building and building and building and building. I was like, dude, we got like half an hour to play left. Like, we should go out on an adventure. So we went on an adventure. We captured a bunch of fucking pals. And then we're happy to see that they do go automatically back to your base when you like, you can't really cap out.
No, there's really it's like 300 or 400 of something. Like it's insane. Like it's like 4 times the amount that is actually in the game. Yeah.
There is some weird, I guess we'll call them modifiers. Like so there's like pacifists, but then there's also like hooligan, and there's like
there's one, it's called glutton. Yep. And it increases their eating rate by 30%.
Yeah, a bottomless stomach.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah, so not to interject, but every Pokemon has not Pokemon, sorry, every PAL.
Whoa, dude.
Whoa.
Don't get sued.
Whoa, don't
lawsuits.
Bro, wee you.
Nintendo kicks through the window. No, every PAL is good at something usually, except for like the very, very low level ones. So like, for example, like one of the legendary PALs is the best at mining. It like literally will mine an iron node in less than 10 seconds. And so when you look at your pals, there's like a bunch of icons, and it'll show the icon and then the number, and then that is how good they are at it. And so all the pals that are the same name or the same essentially just the same pals, right? Every time you catch one, their stats are random, like how much attack they have, how much speed they have, all that stuff. And then their traits are random, but their work abilities are always the same. There's never a time where you you catch a pal and their work ability is different. But you can raise their work abilities by, as weird as it sounds, grinding them up and combining them to another pal. So if you have 5 of the same pals, you choose one, and then you grind up the other 4 and you put them in that pal. And what it does is it empower their working abilities and increase their stats. It's very weird. You can also butcher your pals as well.
Why would you? I don't want to do any of that.
Yeah, it's
for food. You need food too.
You need food, and then there's also certain resources you can only get from certain pals. And if you don't live near those resources and you have those pals, you're gonna want to butcher them.
Johnny, what do you think as a first-time player?
I was a little skeptical at first, right? So like Bobby, I'm not huge on spending all day chopping down trees. But it actually went pretty quick, and then the building was a little bit fun. Like Emilio said, it's all pretty intuitive. It lays out those missions or quests for you at the top, so it gives you kind of that next pillar to go do. And then, like Emilio said, like you go out and you go on a little bit of a pal hunt, and you can be like, oh, what's this one? Oh, this is pretty cool. What's that giant ancient yada yada megalodon thing? And you can see a bunch of stuff when you go out. So that was pretty fun too. So I think it's a good mix. I think it's something we'll play around with just for some co-op time.
Nick, maybe you can elaborate a little bit on this. I found a little bit of a turnoff that if you get something higher level than you, it's negative. But like, I feel like if you and your buddies are out, you want to hunt the big game, but there's no benefit to it.
So yes and no. So let's say like you catch a pal, you're level 10, you catch a pal that's level 20. That pal that's level 20 will have moves that a level 10 pal will never have, even if it lowers its level down to 10. And what ends up happening is that every time you level up yourself, your pal doesn't need XP to level up. It'll automatically level to whatever you caught it at. So it just automatically levels up every time you level up until 20, for example, right? And the thing is, some of the moves that those high level pals have are insane. Like you'll have a pal that does like a move where they spit a little bit of fire and it does like one hit and it does it for like 30 damage. And that's maybe a pal at like level 10. But if let's say you catch a level 20 pal when you're level 10, which is very hard to do. But if you manage to do that, maybe that version of the pal has like a huge flamethrower attack that hits 8 times for 20 hits. 20 damage a hit. So it's like you still want to go after those big pals because they have stat increases as well on them. One aspect of this game that not a lot of people are talking about is the breeding. Don't get me wrong, this game is broken in a lot of ways. I'm level 35, so I put a lot of time in this game. Nothing compared to my homie who's been sick from work this whole week and got to level 49. But there are some broken things in this game. For example, let's say you want to catch a certain pal, right? And there's a lot of fast traveling in this game. If you fast travel to somewhere where that pal is, let's say you catch like 6 of them and there's no more around, you're like, I guess there's just no more. If you fast travel away and fast travel back, all the pals in that area will respawn immediately. So you can kind of farm pals that way. Same thing goes with caves. If you go into a cave, beat the cave, the boss at the end of the cave, you leave the cave and then teleport away and teleport back, the cave will restart. Normally what's supposed to happen is that cave's supposed to be locked to you for like a certain amount of time. So
that doesn't sound like super broken. I mean,
that's like gamers are broken, dude.
Really.
The game is broken. They did something for convenience and then people exploited it because they are fucking on crack with their pals. They can't use basic,
Some of the other things like breeding, for example, is also insane. Like
how do you do this? How do you breed them?
So I think once you hit 20 or 25, you can build a breeding pen, which is like it has like a bunch of stuff with it. But the way you get pals to breed is you have to have cake. So you make cake by getting eggs and milk and flour. And you make the cake and you give them to 2 pals and they will mate. But the thing is, you can get extremely powerful pals that are like level 45 and you'll be like level 20 and you can get them immediately. And you just have to catch like 2 shittier pals and just wait like a day. Like and your eggs will will incubate as you're gone. So
I had no idea that fucking cake was an aphrodisiac, but apparently so.
Apparently it is. Apparently it is.
Let them eat cake.
That's right.
What I did like about the game was I liked after our adventure, we came home and we looked at our new collection of pals, and then we started like putting them where they should go. Like this one's obviously, this one's good for working, so let's get them to work. And this one's good for mining, definitely in mining. This one is super aggressive, definitely going to carry that one with me. This one makes me 30% faster. Yeah, I'm going to carry that on me all the time. Why would I not? So yeah, it's very cool.
One example of that for people that are listening, and we're still talking about Palworld, there is a boss that you can catch. It's called, so you can catch almost all the bosses in the game, except for the ones that have trainers, and even then you can kind of glitch it out and catch them as well. You can also catch people. For those
can you put the people to work? Can you put the
yes,
people to work?
You can, and it's bad. You can also butcher people.
All right.
It gets really dark really quick. So this game doesn't see the pals as like actual friends; they see them as animals, which is an interesting take, compared to the thing it's competing against, which is Pokemon. And it's like, oh, your Pokemon are your friends, but the reality is that you probably eat the Tauros and you probably eat the other animals. That's like,
Why is there pals with AK-47? Sorry, I'm just gonna
So there's a little
mad
monkey.
Larry here.
So there's a little monkey that if you catch one, you can build his harness. So a lot of the pals have harnesses or saddles. Saddles mean that you can ride them. Obviously, there's pals that for water. There's pals for going on top of lava. There's pals for flying, all this kind of shit. But the harnesses usually give them weapons. And so the little monkey pal, who's like a little green monkey, if you make his harness, he gets an AK-47, and he's one of the strongest pals in the early game if you manage to do that. But for example, one of the pals I have, he's like a big panda, and when he jumps, he like flaps his arms and he floats. He has a rocket launcher, and he just absolutely destroys anything that's in a group. But there's a lot of things in this game to kind of keep you engaged. For example, if you're away from your base, you'll get raided by AI, and so it'll be like 20 of these pals that explode when they get close to your walls, and so they'll destroy all of your shit. Or it'll be 20 humans that work for the syndicate, and they'll come and attack your base and kill all your pals. And it's like you have to be very, very diligent on like seeing that rating icon and that rating notification, because if you don't, you can lose a lot of shit that way. But it's cool.
So
I feel
like you're out in adventuring, you get it because it happened to us on a very low level. The syndicate showed up, and 3 humans with bats were like planning to attack. They were just standing there for a really long time. I think that gives you enough time to teleport back and defend your base. Right?
It's not like they're in your base. Like what it is they usually spawn like 200 meters away.
Yeah.
And like they'll stand out there and they're like just pointing at the base. And like if you don't get back within, I think it's 2 minutes, they'll start the raid anyways and then kill everything. But the thing is, later on, for example, if you build a wooden base and fire pals attack you, they can light your base on fire and burn down your whole building.
That's pretty cool.
Because like obviously wood is flammable. But the thing is, like other pals, there's always a rock paper scissors mechanic in this game. Like ground types are weak to water types and stuff. If you build like a stone building, if you use water type moves or explosives against it, it'll break faster. Like there's a bunch of shit in the game that's very. I could talk about this shit for the whole podcast, but yeah,
I think these pals need to unionize, dude. Like they're more of them than there are of what, one of you, 2 of you. Come on.
Yeah, but you also have an assault rifle, and
dude, this little monkey looks like he's fucking people up. I'm looking at a screenshot right now. All these pals with upside down red diamonds on their head look miserable. They're working the factory lines. I don't know. It's
funny because there's pals that are good at mining, and we're like, the pals yearn for the mine.
The pals yearn for the mines, dude. Yeah.
What sucks is that it doesn't suck. It's kind of realistic. Like the longer you keep the same pals working the same thing, if they're not particularly like a fan of it, like because it'll be like, oh, mining expert or whatever, and like they'll never want to leave the mine. But even if it's a pal that's good at mining and you leave them there, they'll get depressed, or they'll develop like stomach ulcers, or they'll like fracture something. Like
is that cured with cake? Also, there's a breeding pen in this, and I don't think I feel comfortable leaving Emilio around the breeding pen. That's all I'm saying.
There's a lot of anthropomorphic pals, all right? That's all I'm saying.
Oh my god, dude.
Anyways, yeah, definitely a good game so far. I wouldn't say it's complete, not even close to being. There's so many things that need to be put in the game and fixed. We're seeing, like, for example, if the server host restarts the server and you're riding a mount and you're going too fast, you'll teleport under the map and you'll lose your pals and you'll lose your whole inventory. Things like that kind of happen. There's bugs right now. If you leave a guild, you get all of your guildmates get locked out of all the guild inventory, and they can't open the doors for the guild that you just left. Even though you left the guild, the people that were in it cannot go, like, can't fuck with the stuff in the guild. But the biggest
Okay.
Go ahead.
We had a bug too because we didn't even know about guilds when we started, so we had 2 separate camps, and then he had to destroy his base in order to join my guild, and then his I don't even know if you noticed this, John, but your pals were hanging out outside of the footprint of my base, like trying to get in, but they could not get in because they couldn't join our factory or whatever. So they're just like they're trying to get through this force shield and they just couldn't do it. It's kind of funny.
It's
And sad. A little sad.
Right now, the biggest bug that people are getting very, very, very mad at, and there's no real way to fix it, is there's something to respec your character, and you can kind of unlock it like around level 30, because you really can fuck yourself over if you put points in the wrong thing that you think are important until later on, and then you realize they're not. It's a mind wipe medicine, and you're supposed to be able to reallocate your points, but it just sends you back to level 1. And the thing is, you're still level you're still level 30. You're still level 30. Like, let's say you take it at level 30, you're still level 30, and it takes just as much XP to level up to level 31. Meanwhile, like level 1 would be like you catch 1 or 2 pals, and then you're level 2. Now you're catching like 30 pals to go from level 30 to 31, and you have none of the benefits from being level 30. It's rough.
Wow.
It's like a double kick to the nuts because you don't actually get sent back to level 1. You effectively get sent back to level 1 in the sense you have no more allocated points for your stats, and then it's also hard as shit to level up. So
hey, Nick, by the way, Cricket Soldier started playing this, so the neighborhood is effectively
all the servers are gone. The Tarzan of the Palworld is here, and he's gonna fucking start a union and kill everybody.
My message to him was, I think you've probably captured one of the devs by now. He's like, no, I just started yesterday. That happens tomorrow.
Dude, last thing I'll talk about, and I'll still talk about Palworld unless you guys have any questions. There are things like they're like these legendary pals that are insanely good. One of the ones is like one of the last pals you can get at level 50 because 50 is the level cap right now, and it's called Jet Dragon or Jet Dragon. And it's twice as fast as the fastest flyer you can get normally. And the thing is, there are 2 things that can help you to catching pals without even hurting them. It's them being asleep and throwing the pal sphere at their butt. And as long as you aim at them from the back, it increases your chances of catching them. And so this guy at level, I think the video, he's level 20 or 19, and there's no way in fucking hell that you're catching a level 50 pal at that level, right? But this dude flies behind this legendary pal while it's sleeping and just throws a pal sphere. Doesn't work, flies away, comes back, throws it again while it's sleeping. Does it like 45 times because his catch percentage is like 0.9. Eventually catches this thing, and then boom, has like one of the strongest pals in the game at level 20. And it's like, obviously there's things that need to be fixed. So,
well, it's an early access, I'm just reading through their comments on why the game is an early access, and they seem pretty upfront that like, yeah, it needs work. But to me, seeing comments online, like a part of the charm is that the game isn't quite done. It's a little janky, it's a little fun, little chaotic, little
Wild West.
Yeah, a little loosey goosey. Come on,
a little loosey goosey. You know what I'm talking about? I just can't wait till the game gets 1.0 because there's people in our guild that were planning to betray immediately because they're assholes. But yeah, there's no PvP right now, and they said they're going to release it at when the 1.0 release. And they are very, very clear on what they're working on. They're releasing a roadmap, I believe, every week of what they're working on for short, medium, and long term. And right now they're working on some of the biggest issues, like I stated earlier.
I had something I briefly want to say on Palworld that I'm just remembering now. On Twitter, one of their devs is like live reacting to the success they're having on launch. And he's like, oh yeah, we got like 1,000 concurrent players. And then you just see, he's like, oh my God, we just sold 1 million fucking units. Like, they did not expect it to do this,
8 million units in 5 days, dude.
Wow. Seeing his reaction, I mean, the highs are the highs, guy. I mean, like, everyone's playing. He just became an overnight millionaire. That's fucking awesome.
He just became an overnight millionaire. Like, I think the game is $29, I think, or $25, and then they sold 8 million copies. Do the math. There's only 50 employees there, They have no investors, so every employee there, unless the CEO is like really fuck, and it's Japan, so it's like there are some agreements when you work on a small team like that you usually do get some of the earnings. You're gonna get a fat fucking bonus this year. They're expanding their team. Obviously, they're putting a lot of money towards what they're going into. They broke the record for most concurrent players on Steam for a paid game. I think it was like 2.1 million people playing at once.
Jeez.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, it like when people were like, Palworld's a drop in the bucket. It's a flashpoint. I'm like, dude, you don't understand the seriousness that is having 2.1 million concurrent players on one platform. We're not talking about Xbox and we're not talking about Game Pass. We're talking about just Steam. Like that is
dude.
and it's free on Game Pass. That's a fucking other thing. It's free on by the way, the Game Pass version is worse. It has a bunch of it's an earlier build and it always will be an earlier build essentially. But the amount of successes has and like the feedback they're getting, the people that are like, it's a flash in the pan, it's not going to be good, it's not going to stick around forever. Dude, this is the new arc essentially. Like this is the game.
Who do you
like,
talk to, Nick? Who has this opinion?
You know, some people in our community that got a little feisty over the weekend.
So I'm wondering if this, I saw an article about how like 80 or 90% of the finals player base has just disappeared. And I'm sure it probably had something to do with Palworld, although I'm not sure when that article was from.
To some extent.
Yeah. I think obviously we're going to see a huge dip in Palworld player base when the game starts to get a little less popular and the next thing rolls around, the next AAA game or the next, indie hit. It'd be incredibly difficult to maintain 1 million players. But this game is so fun. You can just like, I got 30 minutes or an hour. I'm just going to dick around in Palworld, and you just go catch pals or go battle or do whatever the fuck you want. And you can just kill some time. It's fun. You can build stuff. It's got a little bit of everything. Obviously not everything is fucking unique. There's little pals a little look too close to Pokemon and Digimons, but it's fine. As an old Pokemon player that's been playing since they were 6, I still call them Pokemon on accident all the time. I still call them Pokeballs. I still call some of them by their Pokemon names that are really close to, and so it just shows what could have been done and what Game Freak could have even capitalized on more. And now that Palworld's out, it's like, well, there you go. You just lost 8 million unit sales to a 50-person dev team that's been using the fucking engine that Fortnite is built on. So have fun.
Very nice. Very nice.
Okay.
Oh, and couple last, I'm trying to wrap up Palworld, but
it's one of the biggest games, so it deserves a lot of time, right?
Congratulations on getting like servers work. Like, how were they prepared for this many players? Do I not understand how the internet works?
So here's the thing, right? All the people that host Arc, all the people that host those private servers already have the infrastructure to have mass servers. The other thing is, let's say I don't want to pay for those servers because, to be honest, Palworld is so hot right now. The servers are super expensive. It's like $90 to have a 32-person server with like the RAM upgrades and the CPU upgrades and all this other shit and the hard drive upgrades. It's like $90 a month, which is pretty expensive. Right now, one of our friends from our WoW guild is just keeping their computer on and has had their computer on since Palworld's release. He's like, I turn this bitch off until it burns. He's got it like minimized and running while he's playing WoW, and his computer's really good. It's got a 4090. It's got like whatever crazy amount of RAM, so he's able to run both.
And the other thing, as far as pay structure, I saw this like 3 years ago. Japanese CEOs make on average like 10 times what an average worker does.
Mm-hmm.
In the United States, it's 300 times. That's the average. So yeah, you get a way bigger slice of the pie over there.
Yes, the late stage capitalism hasn't hit Japan, thank God.
Yeah. All right, cool. Bobby, first of all, did you buy Palworld?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, I'm not going to buy it until I can play it, and I just haven't had a chance to play it. So, and it is kind of one of those things where it's like, when I'm going to play it, I need a couple hours free. And right now my gaming has been pretty sporadic. I'm trying to knock out like one level of Doom 3 every couple of days, like when I'm home.
And you picked up Lorcana on my recommendation. This might be the first time you ever fucking bought anything on my recommendation.
Yeah, dude, it's hard to buy these. So I guess Ravensburger, the company that makes this, they've got some deal where you can't sell this. Like only card shops and like retailers can sell this either
I
in
like
their
it.
store or on their website. But and I, people are obviously going to resell it on like Amazon and stuff, but it's hiked up a little bit. But it makes this like kind of hard to find, and also the prices vary a lot. So I was at Disneyland on Wednesday, and I thought they must be selling this here, like at Disneyland. So I looked it up, and sure enough, they were, but only at one place. So outside of Disneyland on downtown Disney or whatever they call that area, where like before you enter the park, they have this whole strip mall of just all this Disney stuff, restaurants and Starbucks or whatever. And there's a pin shop because people are really into the pin trading with Disney. That's a big thing. And this is the only location at Disneyland where you can buy these, and it's only 2 per customer too. And as I walked up there, I knew that they were selling it because I saw some kids out who had just bought in some packs, and they're opening their boosters and getting excited about what they got and everything, their rares and their foils. So I walked in there and I bought 2 of the starter decks for the new, what do they call it? New set. Yeah. Floodborn, Rise of the Floodborn or something. Which worked out because they show you on the starter decks like which characters are in it, and I was just like, oh well, those are the ones that I want. It had like Merlin and Frog and the Princess, someone from Frog and the Princess, and then the other one was
Yeah.
I don't know, like other characters that I was like, yeah, those are the ones I want. Gaston and something else. So yeah, I picked it up. 2 starter decks, and I've been playing with my girlfriend, and we've both been kind of learning it, figuring it out, and it's not too difficult to learn. I'd say it is slightly more complicated than Pokemon, maybe on par with Hearthstone, like about that skill level. It's pretty easy, although since I'm still learning, there's still some things I'm not too sure about, like specific mechanics and like when you put characters down, they can't do certain things on the first turn. Like I'm not exactly, because some characters say, play this character exerted, which is like when you tap them, basically, like in Magic. So there's a few things that I'm just not super clear on that I need to explore. But of course, I'm always going to compare it to like the first TCG that I ever played, the Star Wars customizable card game. And the more of these TCGs that I play, the more I realized the Star Wars one was just, it was well designed, but it was just way too complicated. It had like 5 or 6 phases, and the games were very, very long, like at least an hour. And what was really cool about it is like you would have a story, like things happened and progressed like a story. Like this person you deployed there, and then they shot this person, and then like a bunch of other guys came and tried to kill him, but he jumped on a spaceship and went over here. Like it played out like a story, which was really cool. And you could do so many different things. There was maybe too many mechanics in it. And I also liked how they do the in all these card games, you have to generate some sort of currency with the cards. So in Lorcana, you just take cards and say, well, I'm not going to play this card at all this game, so I'm going to put it in my inkwell, and your inkwell becomes your currency, and you can do that once per turn. So Hearthstone, how did they do it? Like every turn you just get one more action.
Yeah, you get
exactly.
one
You get
energy
one
per
more
turn unless you have a
currency.
card that says
But
otherwise.
Yeah.
like, I really like the Lorcana one because it's like if you don't need any more currency, you stop sacrificing. But you'll never be out. You'll never not have enough unless you play poorly. You'll always have enough currency because if you need more, you just sacrifice more cards to currency.
Yeah. And the way to build Lorcana decks is you usually put multiple copies of a card in your deck. So that way you can spend one as ink. You can turn one into ink, or it makes it more likely that you're going to get it, because the games that I play go very quick, and I usually don't even make it halfway through the deck, it seems. But I don't know. I'm still learning. Maybe I'm doing something wrong.
No, that's a good thing, Bob, because if you run out of cards, you die. so you don't want to finish your deck.
Hmm. Yeah, I haven't even gotten close to that yet, but I really liked how Star Wars did this. So Star Wars their whole thing was the flow of the Force. So you had your deck, and then you had your so Magic had lands, but in Star Wars you had lands, but you actually played them on the table, and there are places where people could go and move around. Your characters
That's pretty
would deploy
rad.
there.
I like
Yeah.
that. That's pretty cool.
It was cool. So in each of these lands, you had force bars on either side. So they'd have like 2 light side ones and 1 dark side one. And that was your force generation. So you would count up all those things and say, okay, I can generate like 7 force this turn. And you count it out of your deck 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that was your currency for that round. And then you spend them deploying characters, ships, whatever, put them in your discard pile. Then the discard pile goes under your deck, and it's the flow of the Force, and it keeps going around. And it was a really good way to just like kind of shuffle the cards as you're playing. So in a lot of these games, it's like if the card's at the bottom of your deck, you're never seeing that card. You know, sometimes you got a card that lets you search your deck for something. There are some Lorcana mechanics that allow you to like draw a card, choose if you want to keep it or put it at the bottom of your deck. But like with Star Wars, that was just built in naturally, and I really liked it. And the way you lose at Star Wars is you just run out of cards in your life force, that rotation from deck to force generation to discard pile. Like if you run out of all of that, then you die. And even when you got like down to like 5 cards, like you can only generate 5 force. Even if you could technically, like on the board, you could generate like 10, you only had 5 cards. So I don't know. I thought that was cool, but I'm really enjoying Lorcana. It's actually kind of hard for me not to like get super addicted to it because I haven't played a TCG in so long. And I was like, I loved like the whole Star Wars thing because it was Star Wars, but also just like TCGs are like built to prey upon addictive people like me. You know, you open the pack and you're just like, what I get, and you want to get the whole set. And the other thing too is like I got to invest in all the accoutrement of a TCG now. Like I'm playing this and they give you stuff in the starter deck, but I'm just like, this isn't cutting it, man. I got to get a 2 20-sided dice. I got to get some other dice for hit point counters. I need a play mat. I need to get some sleeves, you know, like I'm like doing some shopping. I'm like, dude, this is getting expensive, but
It's funny, dude, because I'm right there with you. You know, I had a huge Magic collection back in the day, and then now I'm really getting back into, especially with Commander now, where it's so cool. Like every Magic player last night, the guy carding us at the bar, he saw John's Magic the Gathering shirt, and he's like, "Hey, do you guys play Commander?" And we started talking, and we had just played Commander that day, and so Commander's like definitely a thing where it makes it more social. It's not one-on-one anymore. It's 4 people, you know. So or as many as you want, really. It's complex if you want to get it. There's that going on. And so now I have play mats, I have card sleeves, I have a shit ton of dice, and I like it all. But now I have to buy a box to keep all that shit in.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't care about
I'll
the
send you what to
money.
buy, buddy. I'll send you what to buy. I'll
Yeah.
feed your addiction.
Oh, I just bought a 3rd playmat because there's a playmat that has the because I'm still trying to teach Sam, and I'm going to teach Mila as well. But the playmat itself has lined out areas for all of the things, so you don't have to also think about that.
Yeah,
So,
I saw one like that for Lorcana that looked pretty good. Like they've got lanes for each of the,
Exactly.
drying ink. Yeah, it's great. And it's nice playing like a physical card game too. Although like right now I really just have my girlfriend to play with and we're still kind of learning it. And this is like the first time she's ever played anything like this at all too. So she's especially new.
Are you always winning? She's like, stop. You're like, I want to
Yeah.
play Lorcana.
I don't want to get beat up anymore.
And again, I'm still figuring things out, but
I can only get beat up playing Minnie Mouse so many times.
no, we realized pretty quickly that one of the decks seemed a lot stronger than the other, but I think one of the decks is just harder to learn.
Yeah, that's probably what it is.
Yeah,
those things are expertly put together to be balanced, so that's probably what it is. But who knows? I've also bought a 2 pair of Magic decks, and one was clearly much better than the others. So what was I gonna say about shit? I forgot what I was gonna say. But
All
anyway,
right. Well, while you're thinking of
Nick,
that, let me tell you.
are you gonna be picking this up, Nick? Oh, look at that. See?
That's 8 commander decks in
Wow.
one
Yeah.
box.
Well, here's the thing, man. I was
Dude,
looking.
Rianne would love the shit out of this. Sorry, but like I'm gonna be.
It's a good
like,
game.
Yeah.
But here's the thing: we don't need to like meet in person to play this because there's an online version of it. So in all my research that I've been doing trying to figure out how to play this, like I've come across videos where people were talking about this application called Pixelborn. Now it has nothing to do, or it's not like officially licensed by Ravensburger or Lorcana or anything, but it looks like this is something that somebody has made where you can play the game online. It queues you up against other players. It's very well done. Like it's not like Hearthstone, but like you have to import the cards, but there's a launcher that does all that for you. And it queues you up again. Like you load up these decks, like any cards you want, you pick the decks, you load them up. You can go on websites and just copy the code of a deck, put it in there. It's really well done. And what I really like about this and playing it online, I've played like maybe 2 matches online, and of course got worked over pretty hard. But playing it online, you can't do something that is against the rules or out of line, and it also kind of forces you to understand how the mechanics work because that's all like built into the game. It's like playing with these guidelines. When you're playing a game just on the table and you're reading the rule book, you're just like, okay, I think that's how that works. So it makes it really difficult to really get a specific answer on something. So I think playing it online is helping me learn the game better. And also it's really, it lets you play with different deck styles and see what works and what doesn't. But
I'm reading between the lines here. Are you accusing your girlfriend of cheating at the game when she goes against you? Like you have these disagreements over the rules. You're like, if I was playing online, this would never happen.
If it was
No,
truly
I just
random, it would
honestly
never
don't.
happen.
No, I just honestly don't know. The rule book is very small. When you would buy a starter deck of Star Wars CCG, like you got this little tiny booklet that was the size of the card, mind you. It was the size of the card, but like super thick and had tiny, tiny print on it. And it had like the entire rule set. You can find it like in a PDF online, dude. It is like a short novel. It's pretty long, but the rule book that you get with Lorcana is pretty straightforward and explains the basic rules. But then there's all these things in the text like bodyguard, which is kind of like taunt, but a little different. And things that aren't really spelled out. They have that stuff on websites, but it's like anytime you play a tabletop game, you're going to run into one of those gaps, I call them, where it isn't explained in the rules and it's not clear how it should be handled. So you either have to kind of like improvise or speak to somebody or look it up online or find someone who knows what they're doing.
Good luck on that online game, dude. You don't want to fuck with Disney. They're gonna come down hard on those motherfuckers.
They're gonna find out where you live, beat you up, take all your Lorcana cards, and not give you any money back.
Well, I mean, they aren't selling it. That's the thing. It's all free. So I don't think they really have a case there, but it's a lot of people are playing on there. Like you can go on probably Twitch, but I was on YouTube and people are just like playing game after game on there. And because I find that's what really helps me learn it is to watch other people play. But yeah, it's really cool, man. I'm really happy to be back into a TCG again. I feel like Magic, I've already missed that boat. It's a little late to jump on that, but this is new and fresh.
Never too late.
Me and Rianne were into Magic for two or 3 weeks, and I feel like this is something more up her and mine too. So this is all Disney characters, and like everything's relatable. Wait, do the powers relate to the, like is Rapunzel letting down her hair? Like, does it all make sense?
Yeah. They try to work the story in as much as possible. So like Sleepy the dwarf, he enters when he's played, he enters already exerted because he's tired, but they kind of offset it by making him.
That's cool and relatable because you already know the story, so you kind of know maybe how the card is maybe supposed to be played a little bit. Yeah.
Well, I'm already finding out how little of these characters I know too. Like I wish they put on the card what movie or where this character was from, because some of them I'm just like, I have no idea who this person is.
What was my favorite card? You'll get things like just a bowl of coconuts. You can
What
use
the
it to
fuck?
heal people, and that's obviously from Moana, but like, yeah, it makes sense, right? You
A
just
deep
feed them
cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And of course, there are cards they have action cards, like in Star Wars, they call them interrupt cards, but you basically play them and they just do something. But they have specific types of action cards that are called songs, and they're always after like a famous Disney song.
Holy shit, dude. When I go to karaoke, the people I go to karaoke with usually, they're busting out Disney. It's so fun. It's annoying to me, but they love it and everyone cheers. And
I mean,
so
the
this
songs are a
game,
huge part of a Disney movie.
yeah, this game is, yeah, these people are going to love this game. I can't wait to tell people about this. I feel like it's going to blow their mind.
Dude, you should get on Pixelborn and we should play so we can figure this out together, because I'm getting like walloped by people who obviously know what they're doing. I need to play with some beginners. To
Is
figure
wallop
this
a
out.
Disney term? I feel like wallop is a Disney term. Okay, well, the show's kind of gone on. Lots of good stuff, lots of exciting stuff. Should I skip Against the Storm? Should I talk about it next week? What are we feeling?
Yeah, let's move on. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
sure.
Everybody's starting to come home. So
we're gonna do Guess That Sound, then listener questions real quick, everyone. There's $60 in the pot for the sound you have been guessing for a while. It's this sound. I'm gonna play it right now. Nobody knows what this sound is. We've heard hundreds of guesses. Okay, maybe not. Maybe about 10, 15 guesses. This week, Warconius has sent in a guess. He's a patron, so he gets 2 guesses. He says it's a Team Fortress 2 wrench attack, or in Overcooked, it's the sound you make when you beat your meat, which, you know, is funny because obviously both things. I don't know. Does anyone want to take a guess? Do you feel confident that it's one of these?
well, John's a patron and he wants to guess.
He can't guess now.
I was just saying, I don't think it's Overcooked. Like, I think that's not an Overcooked.
No, it sounds like an old game. It does sound, well, I don't know about Team Fortress 2. It sounds,
Team Fortress
it,
1.
it sounds like a Valve game to me, to be honest. So yeah, maybe the original Team Fortress, but that did cross my mind. Like I've spent a lot of time hitting sentries with a wrench, but I don't think that's quite the sound.
No.
Not confident. And guess what, guys? It's not it. Warconius, thank you for guessing. That means next week, $65 are in the pot. But Bobby, Emilio, and Nick, you have one shot, one opportunity to help the listeners. Your mom's spaghetti is on the line. And I guess John is here too, and he should probably be in this. And it's an easy game. Basically, it's an improv game. You each are going to say a word at the same time when I count down. Your goal is to, at the end of the 3 rounds, get to the same word on nothing but the words you've previously said. Okay? So I'm going to give you 5 seconds to think about your word now. Make it something, you know, that you can work towards, or something you think someone else would understand. Okay? I'm going to count down. You're going to say the word. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wrench.
Sauce.
Pumpkin.
Pepperoni.
Okay, we have... Okay. So remember what everyone said. Remember, you're all trying to say the same word. You're all trying to get to the same place, okay?
Yeah, dude, this is gonna
5,
happen.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Sauce.
Food.
Pineapple. I can't even hear what you guys are saying.
Food.
Crust.
I said sauce.
I said
I said
pineapple.
sauce last time.
I feel like we're okay. I think we got this.
Yeah.
I think we got this.
All right.
We got this.
Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Pizza.
Pizza.
Are you retarded?
Everybody said
Nick.
pizza except for me.
Yes.
Wait, what did you say?
Everyone said pizza except for Emilio. Went food.
Well, you know,
Hey.
this was the one that we were supposed to say, like what the word was, right? Did you think we were giving another hint?
No.
No, you just thought it was food. You
I
thought,
thought-
crust, pepperoni, pineapple, sauce was just
Crust.
food.
Hey, don't judge the guy. He's using his noggin. It is food, I guess. I guess Bobby, Emilio, and Nick and John won't have a chance to help you this
Oh,
week.
what?
And
I feel like that was close
75%?
enough.
That's really good.
close. Bro, close. This isn't those two games you hear about. Okay, horseshoes, hand grenades. This is out. Close doesn't count. We'll see you next week. $65 in the pot. You guys can guess, and it's on to listener questions, Bobby.
Well, maybe you should hit them with the hints, the ones that we already have.
The hints we already have. Good call. Thank you for that. We have first person, and we have melee.
First person melee. All right.
Yep.
Okay. Listener questions. We've got a couple from Warconius here. Always good for a listener question or two. He asks, what movie did you watch when you were a kid and way too young for? Same with a video game. For me, a cracked copy of Leisure Suit Larry. It confused me for years on how it was possible to get crabs from a lady.
When I was maybe 8 or 9 and still in the Catholic culty church that I grew up in, I saw Showgirls on at 3:30 a.m. and I watched this scene where she gives a lap dance to him underwater and is like flopping like a fish. I think that scene is pretty corny if you were an adult, but to me, it was maybe the best thing I've ever seen in my entire life. So, yeah,
Christian?
Showgirls.
Just so you know, that wasn't a lap dance.
Oh,
That was
What-
intercourse.
oh, they were
You're
really?
talking about the part when they were in the pool?
The pool was
Yeah.
definitely intercourse.
Oh, I feel like that would be difficult. Maybe like
Well-
UTIs.
That is.
I didn't
Next time
see.
in Canada, I'll show you.
Okay, I can't wait for the in-person demonstration.
All right.
I bring this up all the time. The Quest for Fire. I watched that movie. It was about fucking cavemen. Bobby watched it on not my recommendation, but my confusion, my childhood confusion. It's a French movie about fucking cavemen. They're doing all kinds of weird shit. All kinds of weird shit. Hitting each other in the head with rocks for fun. Just like
And no dialogue, by the way. They just grunt. That's the entire, like, that's all they do. And what's funny is, like, it's a French movie, but it doesn't matter because you don't really need subtitles or anything because they're just grunting
For
the
the
whole time.
caveman. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's
liquor.
pretty wild. So very young Ron Perlman in that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I guess we're doing movies first, then we'll talk about video games. So for me, the movie was definitely, I walked out in the living room when I was very young, and my parents were watching this movie called Alligator. And it was right at the part where kids are playing a prank on another kid and making them walk the plank into the movie's about this enormous alligator that gets loose in New York City, like a giant one, and runs around the sewer and eats people. So at this one scene, this is the 80s. They're not afraid to kill kids in these movies back then. So the kids are playing a prank on this other kid. They're making him walk the plank and they push him off the diving board in a pool, but the alligator was in that pool. And then you just see red water come up. So I remember seeing that and as a kid, and I was just like mortified by it. But yeah, that and the toilet ghoulie. But
The toilet ghoulie got a lot of people, man. A lot.
yeah. Yeah. And then Nick is just gone. He just
Nick
left.
is out of here. Goodbye.
All right. Video games, I don't know. I mean, I did play Leisure Suit, or I came across that at a young age too. But there really weren't a whole lot of adult video games back then. You know, it's not
My
like
mom
today.
had a Power Mac. I'm so lucky that my mom, like, definitely not like.
I think you got to turn that mic a little
Get
bit.
closer to the mic, dude. Jesus Christ.
I think you
You're
gotta
yelling
turn
from
his point on.
Everest.
I don't know why. It doesn't make sense that my mom would be into computers at all, even to this day at all. I don't know why we had a computer, but we did. Thank God. And I found adult Tetris, and the pieces were
Bodies.
people. Yeah. And so you're fitting the people together. They're still the traditional shapes, but it's just people. So like that weird shape that always fucks with you, the one that's straight with one in the middle. I think that was a man with his dick out, and so you stick that dick in whatever hole you could. Yep.
Adult Tetris. Never heard of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna put that on the wish list. This is, I don't know
Oh,
if
there
I
it
should.
is. Oh boy.
I don't know if I want to share this. When I was playing Star Wars Galaxies, I should share it, but it's kind of fucked up for whoever was on the receiving end. Basically, Star Wars Galaxies, when I was maybe 11, 12, that was my first ERP experience, erotic roleplay for those unaccustomed. I was definitely a minor. The person I was talking to was probably a man. It was all very inappropriate, but I remember my mom came around the corner. She's like, "What you doing?" And I'm like hiding the chat window. I'm like, "Oh, just in the cantina, getting buffed." So guard your kids, folks, because they shouldn't be out there. They shouldn't be out there doing adult things like that.
Dude, so the first time I ever played on a roleplay server for WoW, and I was like 13, because me and my friends were trying to play all together, and like servers were going crazy. The first time I ever built an alliance character, I didn't know this, but there's a tavern near the starting area where people role play getting a room together and all this other shit. We're just like, ugh, like it was really intense. It's one specific, like I forget the name of the tavern, but there's like a meme about it. Like you can see it's just one specific tavern in the alliance area, and yeah, they're like, would you fancy a flagon of ale with me upstairs? And like they'll go upstairs and they'll like type in the action, because you can type in actions. It's like Tiffany the 30th has closed the door, and things like that.
Yeah.
But it's public. Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
All right. This is getting a little Jerry Springer too hot for TV here. So let's move on. Next question. Has anyone from the podcast played Red Dead Redemption 2? The game's attention to detail for that era is impeccable. Aside from Baldur's Gate 3, are there any games where the attention to small details is extraordinary to you?
I mean, I've played RDR2. I haven't really gotten into it, but I've been told like the online with the role playing is a lot of fun. So, and I did not even know that was just a simple add-on free LC that came with Red Dead Redemption 2.
For PC,
So-
it came a lot later, by the way. People were upset about it.
Oh,
People
really?
Yeah.
Were you playing on PS5, Nick? Or
I was playing on PS5. Yeah. No, PS4. I can't remember. PS4, I think. PS4. Yeah. The game is so detailed. I played 14 hours of Red Dead Redemption 2. I just remember some of the things that you could do. Like if you put a body or a live person near a swamp, and you don't go too close, like alligators will come out and then eat their body, and then like technically you didn't murder them, so you don't have a wanted level. Like all this kind of shit that's like so detailed. There's like things that involve like characters dying by literally just hitting their neck on a curb, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, and you just got a wanted level because you just knocked some guy out. And
Grandma,
he's got
no.
and he just shattered his his fucking vertebrae and died. So
On Cyberpunk, I have to bring it up in a different type of way. It's attention to detail, but not in like the finer things, but in the macro, I guess. In almost all large games with a lot of surface area, just kilometers of space, you'll see a lot of formations that are similar, right? Like you'll be like, oh, I've seen this warehouse before. Maybe it happens in Cyberpunk, but not to the level where I'm noticing where I'm like, oh, I've been here before. I think everything in the game's original. I don't think two rooms are the same. It's crazy to think a whole city is done like that. I've never seen anything like it. It's very nice. Very nice to. It's refreshing that you don't run into that same goddamn warehouse again.
do you guys are you guys ever amazed by so there's a subreddit, it's called hitbox porn, and it's just how accurate hitboxes are in some video games, like to the point where like it's hitting the character's hair, and the character's hair will move, but it won't do any damage to like the actual player itself. Like it's
Oh, that's cool.
insane. Yeah, like some games, especially like I mean, Elden Ring is kind of an all right example. Like their hitboxes are pretty accurate. Sometimes they're not. But there are certain games, like a lot of, especially Japanese ones, where it's like the models are so detailed and so accurate, and like so are the weapon models and the weapon attacks are so like refined that like literally like the area of missing could be like a millimeter, and you're like, oh my god, like who's gonna go to this level of like modeling this device, like this thing with this many polygons to make sure that it doesn't make contact and program that contact to be that small. So it's really interesting when you look at stuff like that.
Yeah, I had something, but never mind.
As a teenager, I remember my grandpa lost his pilot license because he was just too old. And he knew it was coming. And so he got Microsoft Flight Simulator with all the accoutrement in his office. And I remember he would sit down and he would like invite us to watch him go from like Tokyo to San Francisco, like these super long flights. And we're like, oh my God, Grandpa. But he would, like, the level of detail in that game is enough for a lifelong pilot to feel like they are flying a plane in some, like it's still a simulation,
Especially
but
now.
yeah.
So my brother-in-law is a pilot, and we loaded up Flight Simulator, and he's like, this cockpit is exactly correct. He's like, every single dial, everything. This is how it feels to fly this plane. He's like, this is crazy.
Well,
Everything.
Microsoft Flight Simulator, that's not even really a game, is it?
No, it's really
they
a
use
legit
that
simulator.
for actually training pilots, I
Yeah.
believe.
I
When
didn't know that.
Yeah, how do they sell that now? Do they sell it
On Game
like?
Pass.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, do you buy the base game and then have to buy different
Planes, yeah.
planes, areas?
Areas. So you get the whole world, but if you want New York in detail, actually you get New York for free. But if you want Paris in detail, then yeah, you can pay more and get Paris.
They kind of did that with the train games, but they didn't do a very good job. They had one that goes to like San Diego, like the coaster that goes to San Diego, and it's just like a bunch of buildings and palm trees. And they're like, yep, look like San Diego. Throw a couple palm trees.
My grandpa would be like, wow, this looks like the area that I've flown over before. Like he would recognize areas just by the eye that he hadn't been to in the game, but had flown over in real life. And we have a listener, Pharaoh Steve, who builds and sells certain models in Microsoft Flight Simulator, and he has a whole YouTube channel. I believe it's called Hype Performance Group. Pretty cool. Check it out.
Yeah, it's pretty rad.
All right. Last question from Morconius. Lately, Japanese devs have been putting out lots of highly rated and popular games. Which franchises that you don't have history you may consider giving a shot?
He wants us to play the games he likes so badly.
Please play them. Please play.
Okay, so these are the franchises: Persona, Resident Evil, Monster Hunter, Final Fantasy, Yakuza, Tekken, Mana, Dragon's Dogma, Armored Core, and others.
I played all but
be
2 of these.
Playing Dragon's Dogma 2 most likely. I'll also be playing. I might buy Final Fantasy Crisis Core. I'm not sure. I had a really good time with the first part, so I might be playing that one. I'm not gonna touch Tekken and Armored Core. If that drops down to like $10 one day, I'll pick it up. But definitely not like I gotta play it.
I've heard such cool things. Oh, go, John.
No, go ahead, Christian.
I heard such cool things about the Yakuza games and how unique and just the people who love them are like such huge fans that it always intrigues me. Like I want to dive in. So I think of this list, I would probably jump into Yakuza.
I've heard good things about that too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so for me, I haven't done any of the Yakuza games, and I think they'd be really interesting. There's even ones that are like free now, right? Or came with, some sort of Game Pass or something. So I want to give those a try. I mean, just calling out Dragon's Dogma 2 here. I hadn't seen the videos for it, things like that. I'm a huge Souls-like fan. So even that third person over the shoulder, really fun kind of action adventure RPG, I think is going to be right up my alley. So I'll definitely give that a try. I did try Armored Core. I have it, and I'm trying to get into it here or there, but it's tough. So it does have a co-op component. So if I can get my buddy Emilio to pull the trigger here someday,
$10.
When you
we could end up playing. I like it in concept. Like it's awesome in concept. It's just it feels a little grindy, like before you can actually really enjoy it.
Yeah, that's. I think that's actually one of the worst parts about the game. If I gotta say something negative about it, it's legit like 2 or 3 hours until you get parts that you can actually change your build in a major way. And so I think if it's too easy, turn up the difficulty, because it's not like, oh, this guy's a bullet sponge now. Like the AI actually changes in how they play. But Armored Core is great. As far as the shit on this list, the only two I've not played is Persona and Yakuza. And so out of those two, I'd probably go with Yakuza. Just because the new game came out, Yakuza 0 was so well received, and it's also kind of like a restarting point for the franchise. It kind of simplifies a bunch of the storylines that happened before it, and kind of explains what happened, but it also kind of like makes a new one. Like, it's a great entry point, apparently. So
Nice.
Yeah, don't hold me to this, but I've thought about picking up the new Final Fantasy ones, just because I've heard such good things about it, and it seems so different from what they've done in the past. Like, they've changed it so much, like the combat system. But I don't know. I don't play a lot of Japanese games.
You can play Final Fantasy VII Remake off of my account, Bobby.
Oh, that's right, I can.
Yeah. All right. Is that what are we all playing next week? I didn't play any fucking video game other than that little bit of Palworld today. I haven't played any video games this week. I gotta start the expansion for 2077, and so I'll probably be playing that. How weird is it? I have Phantom Liberty. I started it. I went back to the original game. I'm having so much fun with the original game. I already beat it, and I still can't get to Phantom Liberty.
That's
crazy.
fucking awesome. That sounds awesome. That sounds like a great fucking game.
My guy looks so cool. You know how cool? My fucking jacket has lights on it. It's fucking cool, man.
yeah,
Not as cool as your cosplay, dude. That's never gonna be matched.
Never gonna live in.
I'm going to be talking about Against the Storm next week, and I'm going to be playing it because I'm addicted. It's just that easy, folks. It's one of the best games ever made. Hear about it next week.
For me, it's going to be Hell Let Loose. It's on sale. Me and my friends always wanted to play it because it's flawed, but in World War II. And so I'll be playing that.
All right. I'm looking at Enshrouded, but I don't know if I'm going to get into that. Maybe Palworld. Like, I don't know. We'll see.
All right. Speaking for Ender, Nick, Christian. I always say myself. Why'd I go Ender? All right. Nick, Christian, Bobby, John, and myself.
San Diegan Tatas.
What are those?
So you know how sometimes when you take medication, it says to like eat it with food, right?